Good afternoon to you. I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our tropical weather outlook for August 20th, 2025. We are now at our afternoon update on Hurricane Erin, and as of the latest afternoon update as of the National Hurricane Center, let me actually show you what the National Hurricane Center has first before I show you the satellite imagery. As of the 11 a.m. advisory, Erin is now at a category, well, it's still a category 2, but its winds are now up to 110 miles per hour, minimum central pressure of 941 millibars. So this is intensified compared to this morning, and especially intensified compared to last night when we saw a pressure in the upper 950s and lower 960s. And as you can see by the satellite imagery this afternoon, you could definitely tell that Erin is a much more organized system today. We have a fully clear eye now, and a very compact eye wall within the storm. And obviously surrounding that, we have a huge mass of convection and cloud cover associated with this system. Obviously, we have a ginormous wind field, tropical storm force winds extending as high or as much as 200 to 300 miles out from just the center of the storm. And the total diameter of the system is roughly like around 500 miles from point to point, from end to end. Erin is just a very large storm, and that's going to be the biggest issue with it. Doesn't really matter, honestly. It's kind of irrelevant to me how much it strengthens in the next coming hours, because I'll show you the National Hurricane Center forecast track here. It is expected to re-strengthen and become a major hurricane. In fact, they expect it to become a major hurricane later today, and I mean, it's 110 miles per hour now, so it's on the cusp of doing so. And let's actually, I'll be interested to see if at the 2 p.m. advisory they actually upgrade this to major hurricane intensity. But the biggest issue will be the wind field. I mean, you can see how large it is already, and as I mentioned before, I think as of the 11 a.m. advisory, the wind field was roughly 265 miles of tropical storm force winds extending out from the center, and about 100 miles of hurricane force winds extending out from the center. And we're not going to see any hurricane force winds along the coastline here of North Carolina, but we are going to see tropical storm force winds, and obviously there are tropical storm warnings in effect, and let me actually really quickly read them out to you. A tropical storm warning in effect now from Beaufort Inlet, North Carolina to Chincoteague, Virginia. And that actually is different because before there were only tropical storm watches in effect extending up to Virginia, but as of the 11 a.m. advisory, they actually say here what were the changes of this advisory. Tropical storm warning has been issued from north of the North Carolina Virginia border to Chincoteague, Virginia. I think that's how you say it. I know I'm butchering this name, but I'm pretty sure you get what I mean. And I do believe that the tropical storm warning does encompass Virginia Beach. So, and I know that off the top of my head because Virginia Beach is one of the major populated areas in Virginia. It's in far southeastern Virginia, and I do believe that they are included in the tropical storm warning. And obviously, we have storm surge warnings in effect because the biggest issue from this will be tropical storm force winds. And just by the amount of energy that Erin will be producing, it's producing very large waves, and a lot of those waves will crash on shore in the form of storm surge, which is expected to be as high to 2 to 4 feet. But we are going to see re-strengthening of the storm, and I do want to touch upon that a little bit more right now. Erin right now in 30 degrees Celsius waters, and it's going to remain in very warm sea surface temperature anomalies for pretty much at least the next day or so, anywhere from 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, so that is very favorable for intensification. And of course, we are already seeing intensification occurring today. And another reason as to why that's happened, well, the wind shear, definitely very favorable, especially compared to yesterday when Erin was getting absolutely blasted by wind shear and a bunch of dry air, which caused it to weaken significantly. No longer the case today, as you can see with the wind shear map. We now have greens encompassing entirely over Erin right now. And if you actually take a look at how the upper level wind pattern is, it is deeply embedded within an upper level anticyclone now, with winds at the upper levels fanning outward and away from Erin. Has a very classic upper level anticyclonic look, which is probably what's contributing to the very pretty. And let me actually show you a little bit of a wider shot. This is definitely being helped by the fact that it is very well situated now under an upper level anticyclone. And you could actually start to see that some of these upper level cirrus clouds are making their way onto the outer banks of North Carolina. In fact, I think they are they're definitely visible from the coastal North Carolina now. Although we still have yet to see some of these bands actually make their way to the coast, but that'll probably happen tonight. But this is all happening because it's situated very well under an upper level anticyclone. And just looking at recon too, this is the current recon inside Erin right now. I think they're actually leaving, but they were inside Erin this morning, and we saw a pressure drop from 948 millibars when they got in to now 943 millibars, and would not be surprised if this drops even further. And obviously, just take a look at how big the wind field is. At least 100 miles away from the center, and we are seeing flight level winds being recorded as high as 113 knots. So, and that actually, I think, would actually translate this to being a major hurricane. So maybe we'll actually see if the 2 p.m. advisory of the National Hurricane Center upgrades this to major hurricane intensity. But this is a very broad storm, and you could clearly see that by the wind field. I mean, some of these hurricane force winds extending at least 100 miles out from the center, especially at the flight levels. And that's going to be the biggest issue again with Erin, is going to be the winds. Even though this will definitely be moving away from the coast, we're not going to see a direct landfall from this. And it pretty much is summed up well here in the key messages. Erin is expected to produce life-threatening surf and rip currents for the entire East Coast. And obviously with that, especially along the outer banks of North Carolina, we're going to see storm surge forecasted right along the outer banks to be as high as 2 to 4 feet. And that's not, super high storm surge. That's not big time storm surge that we would see in humongous landfalling storms. Like I would say if Erin was actually making landfall along the East Coast, we would probably see much larger storm surge values, maybe as high as 10 feet. But we're not going to see that. We're only going to see 2 to 4 feet, but that is still enough for beach erosion. And the key messages here by the National Hurricane Center outline that the storm surge will be accompanied by large waves, leading to significant beach erosion, overwash, and this will make some roads impassable. So that is definitely going to be an impact, and a pretty significant one at that. Tropical storm conditions are expected Thursday along the Virginia coast. So again, even outside of North Carolina, that we're now starting to see impacts potentially make their way into Virginia as well. And tropical storm force wind gusts to tropical storm force are likely along portions of the remainder of the U.S. Mid-Atlantic and southern New England coasts Thursday through Friday. And tropical storm conditions are possible for Bermuda. Yes, the wind field is going to be that large. We're even going to see tropical storm force winds potentially for Bermuda. And very interestingly enough, that the National Hurricane Center mentions we might actually have tropical storm force winds for the Mid-Atlantic. And I'll actually really quickly show you that with the wind probability. And let me actually show you the graph for wind probability here. Oh, that's not. I actually have to do that. There we go. You could actually see from the 11 a.m. wind probability, definitely heightened wind risks right along the outer banks here, but even stretching into coastal Virginia, and even pretty much right up against the coast here in the Northeast, and even New England. Especially, we kind of see a more heightened risk here in southern Massachusetts along the Cape. They might also get tropical storm force winds because, again, the wind field is just going to absolutely balloon in the coming days, even larger than it already is and impacts will be widespread. So if you are along the East Coast, not just in North Carolina, you're definitely going to want to keep a close eye on Erin over the next few days. But obviously, the biggest concern will be in North Carolina because there are tropical storm warnings in effect for them right now. And obviously, we're going to continue to monitor the situation throughout the day. Posting this video really quickly this afternoon, but we're going to go over more on Erin later tonight. And of course, I'm going to give you all the latest information this evening when we have the latest model data and whenever we have latest recon. So bottom line, not done yet with posting these videos today. Obviously, I did this one, and about half an hour ago, we did a live stream at 12 o'clock. So if you also want to get information, you could also go onto that live stream and watch the replay of it, because I went over quite a bit of stuff there. But we're going to continue to monitor Erin here throughout the rest of the day, posting one more time probably later this evening and tonight. And I'm also going to be posting a lot on Twitter, so make sure to follow me there. And if you are new to my channel, once again, would really appreciate if you like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with family and friends, because we're going to be talking about a lot more in the coming days related to Erin, and probably much more beyond that, as we are just now getting into the peak of the hurricane season. Until then, until we talk again later tonight, enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Stay safe, and I'll be back with more later.